Hello, hello! Today we have the Grounded palette by Glaminatrix Cosmetics. This is the first Glaminatrix palette I've ever tried. You might originally know it as the Poop palette. I decided not to get that poop theme because if I didn't like this palette, and like I said, I've never tried Glaminatrix, so I did not know how their formula was going to be and whether or not I would like their product. So I thought, handing off a poop palette secondhand may not be the easiest. So I decided to go with the Grounded palette just in case if I did end up not particularly liking this, then I could at least give it away and not have the embarrassment of being like, hi, would you like a secondhand poop palette? So here we have the Grounded palette, and the theme instead of poop is like roots, it's trees, it's earthy. I believe Glaminatrix is from Australia. I don't think I knew that until I ordered it and saw that the box is coming from all the way from Australia. Yeah, it says right there, Australia. So very surprised, but I was so excited when I saw this palette online and I saw those yellows. I knew I had to have it. Y'all know I am a yellow queen. I love the yellow. So of course I had to try this at least. I ordered this when it first came out. When I first got it, I did create a little short just showing it off just because I was so happy. This is one of the only palettes this year, if not the only one, that I've bought in at full price. I think this was like $60. Like always, I'll put my receipts down below. But this was not a cheap palette. It was a pricey palette. So I was expecting a lot. But it's happened before, you know, where I've paid for an expensive palette before and I ended up being allergic to it. So, you know, I was keeping my options open by getting the Grounded palette instead of the Poop palette. But here is the palette. It comes, first of all, if I remember correctly, this was very well packaged. I believe that there were, let's see, these are circles. There were these kind of, where are they? Let's see. They came with these little paddings on each of the little shimmer shades, if I'm remembering correctly, to keep them really safe. As you can see here, they've put plastic over this like faux leather, and on the back you'll see the name and the ingredients on the back of this, and I've kept it on this long just so you could see me take it off during this video. So let's do a little ASMR, as the kids would say, but it's not really sticky anymore, so, well, that was nothing. But yeah, this little plastic has the ingredients on it, but once you remove that, I'm going to throw that away now, but I've been keeping it on because, trust me, it would have been a lot more, it would have been a lot more satisfying if I still had that sticky edge, but it really doesn't because I've had it out for probably the past 2-3 weeks, and I'm finally getting around to reviewing this palette. If I'm remembering correctly, I used this palette around Halloween time, which now is, from when I'm filming this, about 2 weeks ago. So it's really fancy, very simple looking. Like you can barely even read that it says Grounded Glaminatrix. So it's a very like subtle, like it almost looks like a bound leather notebook or a book. So that's really cool. But then when you open it up, there is a mirror in there. And of course we have the shades. Let's remove that. And these are so pretty. So pretty. It kind of reminded me of, oh lord, what's that other brand? Cosmetics, that's what I was thinking of. That's kind of like what the shimmers remind me of. Adept Cosmetics. I think that the shimmers in here were good. They're a very flaky shimmer, so if you don't mind a flaky shimmer, I think you can work with this palette. I personally don't mind, especially when I was able to pick up all these shimmers with a brush. I was able to pick up the flake and then spread the flake onto my eye, so I didn't need any primer or, you know, like eyelash glue or something like that, you know, like shimmer glue, glitter glue to put this on. I just put it direct, like always. My base is always just a concealer, just to get that color intensity, but I don't think I had any real issue. I think I really liked the shimmers. I remember enjoying the shimmers a lot and being a little bit surprised by the shimmers, but I think my real love for this palette was the mattes. I think the mattes are like super killer in this, and I really also like the setup. The setup seems simple enough. I love the row of yellows. I love the green and browns. Like this is like one of my ideal like dream palettes created right here. I think that this is just so beautiful, and I'm glad that they worked with it a little bit more, because when you look at the original like April Fool's joke poop palette, I think the shades were probably a little bit more similar, and with this I really love the outcome of what we have here. So let's do some swatches. I really feel like that this anchored shade, this anchored down here, is one of the best yellows I've ever used in my life. one of the best matte shades. I thought that was so beautiful. So I want to do Anchored. I want to do Still. Ooh, that's so pretty. I want to do Steady because I love, I've talked about this before, this kind of green always reminds me of like Halloween. This is also just such a great fall palette. And then I also really liked, Lord. Let's do maybe Grounded, a little bit of Grounded. The formula for these mattes are also so interesting. Not particularly like anything I've ever seen before. The closest I could think of is maybe something similar to Singe Beauty or perhaps Kimchi Chic Beauty, in the sense that it's so intense and it's not like a wet matte or like a super dry matte, but it's like essentially it's kind of like pastels. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Like, do you guys remember playing with pastels? And it's kind of like that consistency, where it's almost like a little bit oily, but not in a bad way. I feel like it makes it last so much longer. Oh, and so easy to use. This is Grounded. Like, the intensity and just like being able to use them was so easy. Look at this white. That's one of the best whites I've ever seen. That is so beautiful. I love it so much. And I'm using it again. I really, really like it. I feel like I had, you know, a lot of good use for this during the fall. I don't feel like I really had any issues with the mattes. And it's just, I love how everything's just kind of, it all works together. You can use the greens with the yellows and the yellows with the browns, and like with these reddish kind of browns as well. It works together. Oh God, which ones? It's hard to say which of these shimmers I really, really liked. They were all so beautiful. I honestly can't, I don't know. But you'll see here this Secure shade has like these gold and like teal kind of flakes. You can see this shade right here is very marbled. It is really, really pretty. And I tried not to dig into it too much, just so you can see how marbled it is. And then same with this one. This one's a duochrome. I think you can kind of see the shift of the color in the lighting. Also very pretty. God, I don't even know. I'll just swatch 3. I think I'll swatch Balanced because this one was so pretty. I loved. It reminds me of like Tinkerbell. So we got like this gold with a green sheen, and then we got this green base with a pink sheen, and then we have a shade like this, which looks brown in the pan to me, but is like a kind of silvered gold. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. So here's one shade. Oh my god. And like I said, it reminds me of Adept, but with Adept, I actually had to use glitter glue for the first time, and I thought it was very worth it because I didn't have anything like those shimmers from Adept. So wow, wow, wow. Oh, I love that shade. I love a green base with a pink shift. That's one of my favorite duochromes. And then a yellow base with a green shift always reminds me of like Tinkerbell, and it just kind of takes me back to my childhood. And then we have this shade right here, which is insane. A shade like this reminds me of like a bride. Like, this feels like the kind of colors, well, this shade feels like the kind of color I see on a bride on her wedding day. Like, this is so gorge. It's absolutely beautiful. It was absolutely worth it. I'm glad to have gotten this in the first round. These are beautiful. This is one of those really fancy palettes. It's definitely, you know, pricey. Is it worth the money? I think you definitely get what you paid for. Like, this is expensive, and this feels and looks expensive. I think it is just really amazing quality. I'm really happy with this Glaminatrix palette. I would really love to get, there's this other very fall style palette. I think it's like called Fireside or something, like Bonfire, I think. That one looks absolutely beautiful. I'm waiting to see if maybe Glaminatrix will have a sale. You know, we're in November. That means Black Friday pricing is coming up, and I'm hoping that a palette like Bonfire will, you know, go up for at least maybe a 10 or 20% off, because I would absolutely love it. I would love to purchase from Glaminatrix again. If you're wondering whether or not to get this palette, I definitely think it's a yes for me. These shades are absolutely beautiful, and if you want to get that poop palette, get that poop palette. It's up to you, but I'm happy with my Grounded one. Other than that, you'll have a great day.